Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tommy McCarthy, and this is Let's Talk Cyber. What a day of speakers we've had so far. Please correct me if I'm wrong, PJ Di Giammarino. Welcome to Let's Talk Cyber, sir.
Gee, Tommy, you're almost Italian now.
Well, yeah, for sure I am. Well, listen, my stomach would agree with that when it comes to pasta and pizza. There's no question. PJ, listen, thanks for taking time to join me today on Let's Talk Cyber. We've seen an unbelievable shift in the landscape of threats and risks in this space. I would say over the last few years, not over the last 10 years, but certainly over the last few years, with the implementation of AI and the increased obligation on CISOs around governance. And this is what we're going to talk about today. When security becomes supervision, the CISO's 2027 power shift. Yeah, that kind of really sets the scene for me. I guess that's the title for our subject. But what I need to understand, and I'm going to ask you to focus on financial services. So why do you believe, because I know this is an area of expertise for you, why are the financial services the early warning sector for CISOs?
Yeah, and it's a great starting point for this conversation, right? Because regulators have really recognized that data is capital and compute is trust, and that sovereignty really is a new type of driver's license that they're requiring financial institutions to have. And it's really happening to them, the financial institutions first. But as we know, so much of this is global and crosses all sectors. But ultimately, when the cyber fails, you have a regulatory scorecard now, and it's very detailed and very prescriptive about what are those regulatory risks that are all named in rules that we've known for a while, like digital operational resilience or the EU AI Act or the various AI governance frameworks that are out there. And what the CISO has is a huge opportunity here to turn those cyber controls into so much more, because they're all about then evidencing that the business risks are protected and therefore they're safe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that you touched on the fact that, you know, the regulatory compliance requirements around the EU AI Act, for instance, and how that impacts on the financial services sectors and ultimately the CISO, who's responsible for bringing this all together. Where does the CISO gain power then, in your own opinion, when it comes to compliance in this sector?
Yeah, for me, it's about expanding the aperture of what it is that the CISO is focused on today. So, when we saw DORA came in, a lot of people would tell me, "Well, this isn't real cyber. There's real cyber with blue teams and purple teams and all kinds of good things that we do to look at threats and third party risks and all that good stuff." But the bit I think some people may have missed is that there's a real link to the business activity now in the way that they evaluate those risks and all the other interdependencies for the many moving parts that happen within a financial institution. So it's the application portfolio, it's the data feeds, it's the use of these third-party AI tools, it's all of the other pieces to making a financial institution run digitally that are now open for discussion about how well they are protected. And I think that's where the CISO now has a bit more of an opportunity at the table to work with their colleagues in risk and with technology and with data and all the other functions.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to better understanding the challenges that the industry has, everybody assumes that the CISO is God in cyber, but they're not. You know, they're obviously out there trying to do their best on behalf of both their organizations that they work with, you know, themselves, to make sure that they're covering all the bases. But coming together and collaborating, for me, is a critical part of the continued development of this sector. And I know that you host the Reg Risk Control Forum, and a very good friend of both of ours speaks exceptionally highly of it. And it's an event I'm looking forward to myself. Why would you expect CISOs would want to attend and join the Reg Risk Forum? Because obviously CISOs, as you know, under a lot of pressure, time is money. What could CISOs expect to get from this year's Reg Risk Control Forum?
Well, I think it's really that alignment that you highlighted. I mean, I was once a COO for technology, and yes, I knew who the CISO was, but I had lots of other demands for where the spend was that year. And what 2027's budget is all about, I think, is getting multiple arrowheads behind the issues that the regulators are looking for us all to solve. So what we're doing in our Reg Risk Forum is posing the complete test around your data and what the regulators are expecting in terms of that data being capital, the untrustworthy AI and the AI debt that you have, as well as then how you manage all these local rules. And the CISO CISO plays an integral part to that, of course, because they're the ones that have their, the fingers on the pulse of all those controls and risks today.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm going to throw a curveball in here, PJ. So please bear with me. Don't mean to put you on the spot. Is AI taking over the world? What's your own opinion?
No, I mean, we've always had AI.
Yes, yeah,
Yes, there are a few new AI tools out there, but at the end of the day, firms are run by people, and the AI has no legal personality. So
no,
it can't take over. We can anthropomorphize all we want, but ultimately it comes down to individuals. And I think that's the real call to action this year, which is let's get the people together to look at how they're taking advantage of this AI opportunity, but also then how you're managing the threat.
yeah.
And that's the control room framing that for these tests that we're trying to really work through. We're trying to connect resilience with AI governance, with data lineage and reporting controls. It's all one thing at the end of the day. It's about your ability to replay that end-to-end chain as evidence for a regulator.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because you're not the only person that's said to me, no, AI has been around a long time. Top professor in Bahrain, Dr. Jasm Haji, he told me this 2 years ago that we've been dealing with AI for as long as he can remember, and he's in his 60s right now. So yeah, I get it. I guess it's just being framed in a different format because of how dynamic and progressive the AI tools that we're all becoming aware of, how quickly they are getting into the marketplace. What's the biggest challenge that you think these CISOs will have when it comes to controlling the governance and the expansion of AI within the workplace? What do you think is the biggest challenge that CISOs face right now when it comes to AI and governance?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think I would make the analog I would draw is the shadow IT
Yeah,
or shadow data organizations. I mean, it's so easy now for anyone to be an expert and to start plugging tools in and to get into the infrastructure. You can even do more at home than you probably can do at work, and all of a sudden you're more productive and you're coming and introducing new threats that you didn't even know you were introducing to the environment. So I think it's that holistic risk assessment, and it's understanding that what it is that people need to do the day jobs and how do they leverage these tools, but without actually compromising some of the barriers and firewalls that we have within the organization.
yeah, it's interesting you said shadow AI and shadow IT because we've just published a tremendous article from the Principal Information Security Officer of the UAE's energy infrastructure ministry. So I'm delighted to share that with you. I guess the final thing for me then for our listeners is what's the desired takeaway that you believe CISOs should consider right now in relation to the financial services sector, to the new sort of regulatory issues and the pressure that these CISOs are facing in their day-to-day, in their day-to-day professional lives right now? Desired listening takeaway from you to our CISOs listening.
The thing is that the window is opening in a much broader set of discussions that the CISO is very used to having, and there's a lot of need for what they're typically specialized in as God, as you put it. But everybody now needs to be a little bit more God, and we need to be able to help create that broader control community and figure out what that means organizationally. Some of these beasts are very complex. We all know that, and it takes a lot of people coming together around a common framework and looking at how you control these risks. So that's the conversation we're really trying to open up with the CISO community, and really looking forward to the 15th of October in London, having as many professionals around a series of structured discussions around this so we can come out with some good conclusions for everyone to take home and look at what it means for their budgets in 2027.
Great, PJ. Well, that's exactly what I was about to come on to is the RegRics, obviously Control Forum. It's 15th of October in London. We'll be sharing the details with our wider network. PJ, for now, all I can say is thank you so much for taking the time, finding the time to come and join me and imparting your knowledge to our listening audience and CISOs. Thank you so much for joining me on Let's Talk Cyber.
My pleasure, Tommy. Thank you for having me.